Hey there, welcome back to Ask Amy. I have a question today from Mary, and Mary's asking about teens and social media and how we can help them see that their well-being is not dependent on what's going on. So she shares a story, something that she recently experienced. She said, my curiosity on this topic came while listening to a bunch of 13 to 16-year-old girls. They were casually talking about how they take down a Facebook or Instagram post if they don't reach a certain number of likes within a couple of hours or less. Although they laughed about it, I sensed that these awesome humans were carrying a lot of extra mental weight on their shoulders. In a world where so much is uncertain and constantly changing, the additional pressure to be accepted in a world behind a screen seems intense. Also, given that the brain shuts down for renovations during the teenage years, they seem to have a lot to deal with all at once. So, my question is, how can we best help teenagers realize that their well being doesn't hinge on the number of red hearts or thumbs up on their social pages? I'd love to be able to have some simple talking points to make in helping them turn back to their own wisdom. So I love this topic. Obviously, it's I've gotten so many questions around things like this, and I want to do much more on it. I want to do a mini course on it and all kinds of stuff because it is yeah, so prevalent right now. And in thinking about your question, Mary, and thinking about this topic in general, and really sitting with what what would I want to share? Like what do you want these girls to see, and boys and adults, by the way. Of course, it's huge for that teenage population, but it's anyone and everyone could be fall prey to this. You picture yourself a 13 to 16-year-old kid, and you're posting things on social media, and you're looking for that instant feedback, and you get excited and your brain puts out these happy chemicals when you get a like or you get a heart, and you feel depleted, and your mind makes up stories when you don't get those or when you get negative feedback. And then you're seeing other people and you're seeing their likes and hearts and their feedback, and you're right. I mean, it is just so much. And it reminds me, it's interesting, that we're talking about looking, being in a screen, because it's almost like we can get pulled into this little world on our phone, on our computer, and that looks like the world. We forget, we don't realize in those moments for sure, and beyond, especially for young people, we lose sight of what's real and what's true. And we forget when we get sucked into this, and who shared what and what they say and what are the comments and all of that. That looks like all there is. It's like being stuck in a little game, in a little representation of life that isn't real life, and believing that it is, believing that it's true. So I guess, the first thing I would want to have these girls see is that this isn't real life. It's social media. It is designed to only give us a tiny little snapshot of what's going on, with no background, no big picture, no context really. Yet our mind won't tell us that. Our mind will look at it. The way our brain will look at this is it'll look at what everyone shared. And what do? We all notice this. You look at what someone shares, and your mind just fills in all the blanks. And there are a lot of blanks because people are just sharing a picture or a quote or an opinion about something. So our mind jumps in and fills in all of these blanks. It says, this is what their life looks like every day. This is the kind of person they are. And instantly, it doesn't just, your mind doesn't really care that much about other people. It only cares about you. So it's looking and drawing these conclusions about other people and their lives, all so we can spin it into a story that ultimately is back about you. So, wow, look at where they went on vacation. Wow, look at how nice their pictures look. Oh, that looks so great. I wish I had their life. Instantly, your mind will bring that back to, you don't measure up. You should have what they have. That's just the way this computer in our heads works. Just the way it works. Our mind, this computer, is all about calculating, comparing, contrasting you with other people, predicting, drawing conclusions that aren't truly there. It's all about safety and certainty. And I would want people to know that. I would want teenagers to know that your mind is going to, especially now, especially in these uncertain years, these formative years when it looks like our identity is so real and so important. You know, that's the thing about being that age is our mind is always scrambling for who am I? Who am I compared to them? Like what does this mean about me? It's all about me in their minds. And that's just the place their brains in, developmentally even, you know, it's trying to form this solid identity. And in doing that, it brings in so much information and draws conclusions that aren't really accurate. So the more we can help teens see this, and it doesn't have to be complicated, doesn't have to go deep into how the brain works or anything like that. But the more we can just help them see a couple things. One, again, we have a brain that is just trying to make up an identity for us and trying to tell us who we are. And in doing that, it will compare and it will put you down and it will puff you up and all of that. And none of that is true. None of that is real. It's just the workings of this computer. It's just the way our mind works, and we're going to feel it. We're going to feel it as real. It's not anything we have to shun. We can't. It's not anything we need to be upset about, but it's something to just see, wow, I have a machine in my head that's always connecting dots, always telling stories. And, you know, there's more to life than these stories. They aren't always accurate. They're just the story that a computer makes up at that moment in time. So to help them see this is what happens, and that when we step into something like social media, it is just this playground for your brain to do this. It is just, you know, your brain will do it no matter where you are, but it is a play. It is like a kid in a candy store. Your brain says, wow, look at all this evidence. Look at all this information we have. And it just does it more. So I don't see that people are going to keep teenagers off of social media anytime soon. But if they can at least know a little bit of what's going on and just have that tiny bit of skepticism, just say, oh, this is what a brain does when we put it in this environment, just so you know, I think it can be so helpful. And again, helping them see that this isn't real life. This is not to make their feelings invalid. I mean, their feelings are 100% valid. Of course, we feel what we think, and that's real. We feel it's not true, but it's real. We feel what we think. And when your mind is in that candy store and you're thinking all this stuff, you're going to feel it. But it's not real life. It really isn't. I love that old movement from, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or so. I think it was called It Gets Better. So it was a whole movement around teens, and I think it was around like teen suicide and bullying and all of this when things were really bad there, and they still are, unfortunately. But there was this movement called It Gets Better to show children, kids, teenagers that however hard life looks now, whatever conclusions you're drawing about yourself now, that you're not good enough or you don't fit in or whatever it might be, please hang on. And it had celebrities and people from all walks of life who were older saying, listen, I went through this too when I was your age, and trust me, it gets better. You aren't this stuff. And I just love the feeling of that, because the sentiment of it, because that's what it shows us, is however life looks and feels in a given moment, and especially when it feels hard, and especially when we don't feel like enough, that's our mind tricking us. It's just our mind drawing a conclusion that it doesn't have to hold on to forever. That as we go through life, we see new things. We can't help. We are designed for it. We are designed to keep growing and thriving and seeing new things. And it gets better. How you feel when you're a teenager is not how you're going to feel when you're older. And just to even know that, again, it doesn't mean they aren't going to have the experience they're having when they're having it. We all are. But I think it can help so much to help them see, oh yeah, this is just where my mind's going right now and what's happening right now. And if I can at least know that it's not the end all be all, it's not true of me, this is not who I am, this is just how my experience looks and feels in this moment, it gives us so much hope. You know, it's like a buffer, it's a bit of a safety net while we're having that experience, to at least know that there's more going on than how it looks. how it feels in any given moment. So I think that's what I would say to teens in this situation, that there's more to life than what it appears like right now. And again, that was true when we were kids before social media. That's true even now, and maybe harder to see at times. And to give them a little bit of an in so that they can see, oh, my mind's not doing this because it's true. My mind's not comparing me because it's valid. My mind's comparing me because that's what a brain does. My mind loves me so much. It wants to give me an identity, but this identity isn't who I really am. And we all grow into seeing more and more about who we truly are beyond our thoughts, beyond those comparisons. And it's an amazing journey. And we just sometimes have to hang out long enough and be in life long enough for it to teach us and to show us. So I hope that's helpful to at least point in a direction for a beginning of a conversation to start. And thank you so much, Mary, for asking the question, because it's huge. And like I said, I want to talk so much more about this in the future because, yeah, I think we need it right now. So thanks so much. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Send your questions to AskAmy at thelittleschoolofbigchange.com, and I'll be back here every Monday to answer them. Have a great week.